The ship shook hard. Metal screamed. Lights flickered red and white. Tay grabbed the wall to keep himself from falling. His silver scales turned pale with fear. This was his first real mission, his first real battle, and the enemy was already shooting at them. Tay was a Valari. His people were tall and thin with smooth silver scales covering their bodies. They had large dark eyes that could see in the dark. They were smart. They were careful. They were not fighters. But the war had come to their world, and now every Valari had to serve. The Alliance needed soldiers. The Krath Empire was spreading across the galaxy like a disease. They destroyed planets. They killed millions. They showed no mercy. So the Alliance called on every species to send troops, even the peaceful Valari. Tay was only 20 cycles old. He had trained for 6 months. He knew how to hold a rifle. He knew how to follow orders. But he had never seen real combat. He had never watched someone die. He had never felt this kind of fear. The transport ship was called the Iron Wake. It carried 200 soldiers from different species. There were Valari like Tay. There were tall insect-like Dren with 4 arms. There were massive rock-skinned Gorath, who could lift a vehicle with 1 hand. And there were humans. Tay had heard stories about humans. Everyone in the galaxy had heard stories. They said humans were strange. They said humans were dangerous. They said humans fought like they had nothing to lose. Tay did not know if the stories were true. He had never met a human before today. The ship shook again. An explosion hit somewhere near the back. Smoke filled the air. Soldiers shouted and ran. Tay pressed himself against the wall and tried not to panic. First time, the voice was calm. Too calm. Tay turned and saw a human sitting on a metal crate. The human was not tall. He was shorter than Tay. But there was something about him that made Tay feel small. The human had dark hair cut very short. His skin was a warm brown color. His eyes were dark and steady. He wore heavy armor, covered in scratches and burn marks. Old armor, used armor. The armor of someone who had seen many battles. The human was cleaning a rifle. His hands moved fast and sure. He did not look worried. He did not look scared. He looked bored. Yes, Tay said. His voice shook a little. This is my first mission. The human nodded. He did not laugh. He did not judge. He just nodded, like he understood. Name? The human asked. Tay. I am Tay of the Valari 3rd Division. Woo, the human said. Just woo. Another explosion. The ship tilted. Soldiers fell. Tay grabbed a pipe above his head to stay standing. Wu did not move. He sat on the crate like nothing was happening. Is this your first battle? Tay asked. He did not know why he asked. Maybe he wanted to hear that he was not alone. Maybe he wanted to know that even humans got scared sometimes. Wu looked up. A small smile appeared on his face. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who knew something others did not. First today, maybe. Wu said. Tay did not understand. What do you mean? Wu finished cleaning his rifle. He loaded it with smooth movements. Click. 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 Every sound was perfect. Every movement was practiced. I mean, I have done this before, Wu said. Many times. More times than I can count. Tay felt his chest tighten. How many battles? Wu thought for a moment. 47 campaigns. Maybe 200 ground engagements. I stopped counting after the siege of Vora Prime. Tay had heard of Vora Prime. Everyone had. It was a nightmare. The Krath had attacked a colony of 3 million people. The Alliance sent troops to defend it. The battle lasted for 8 months. When it ended, only 12,000 people survived, and only 400 Alliance soldiers walked away. You were at Vora Prime? Tay whispered. I was. Wu said. His voice was flat. Empty. I was one of the 400. Tay did not know what to say. He looked at the human with new eyes. This was not just a soldier. This was a survivor. This was someone who had walked through hell and come back. The ship's alarm changed. A new sound. Louder. Faster. The captain's voice came through the speakers. All units prepare for drop. Enemy forces have taken the planet's surface. We are deploying in 5 minutes. This is not a drill. Repeat. This is not a drill. Soldiers started moving. They grabbed their weapons. They checked their armor. They formed lines near the drop pods. Tay felt his legs shake. He was not ready for this. He was not ready to die. Wu stood up. He was shorter than most of the other soldiers, but somehow he seemed bigger. He put on his helmet and picked up his rifle. Then he looked at Tay. "Stay close to me," Wu said. "Do what I do. Move when I move. Shoot when I shoot. Do not think. Just act." "Why?" Tay asked. "Why would you help me?" Wu was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke. "Because I was you once. Young. Scared. Alone. Someone helped me survive my first battle. Now, I help others." Tay felt something strange. It was not hope exactly. It was something smaller. Something quieter. It was the feeling that maybe he would live through this day. They walked to the drop pods together. The pods were small metal capsules that would shoot them down to the planet's surface. Fast and hard. Many soldiers died in the drop. The pods were targets. The enemy shot them out of the sky like birds. Tay climbed into his pod. It was dark inside. Cramped. He could hear his own breathing. He could feel his heart beating too fast. "Wu," he said through the communication link. "What is it like? The drop?" There was a pause. Then Wu's voice came through, calm and steady. "It is like falling. Falling very fast. You will feel sick. You will feel scared. But it only lasts a few seconds. Then you hit the ground. And then the real fight begins." The countdown started. 10. 9. 8. Tay closed his eyes. He thought of his home, his family, the blue lakes of his world, the quiet forests. He wondered if he would ever see them again. 7. 6. 5. He thought of Wu, a human who had survived 200 battles, a human who still fought, a human who helped strangers because someone once helped him. 4. 3. 2. Tay took a deep breath. He was scared, but he was not alone. 1. The pod launched. Tay felt his stomach drop. He felt the G-forces push him into his seat. He felt the heat as the pod burned through the atmosphere. Everything was noise, and fire, and fear. And then it stopped. The pod hit the ground hard. The door blew open. Light flooded in. Smoke and dust filled the air. Tay could hear gunfire. Explosions. Screams. He stepped out of the pod. His legs were shaking. His hands were sweating. He raised his rifle and looked around. The battlefield was chaos. Buildings were burning. Bodies were everywhere. Soldiers ran in all directions. The sky was dark with smoke. And there, standing in the middle of it all, was Wu. The human had already killed 3 enemies. Their bodies lay at his feet. He moved like water. Smooth. Fast. Deadly. He fired once. Twice. 3 times. Every shot hit its target. Every movement was perfect. Tay had never seen anything like it. He had never imagined a single person could be so dangerous. Wu turned and looked at him. Through his helmet, Tay could see his eyes. Calm. Focused. Alive. "Welcome to the war, Tay," Wu said. "Now stay close. We have work to do." The ground was hot. The air was thick with dust and smoke. Tay could barely see 10 meters ahead. He followed Wu through the burning streets of the colony. Stepping over rubble and broken glass, every few seconds, he heard gunfire. Every few seconds, someone screamed. The planet was called New Hana. It was a mining colony. 30,000 people had lived here before the Krath came. Now it was a war zone. The Krath had attacked 3 days ago. They had destroyed the orbital defenses. They had landed their troops. They had started killing everyone they could find. The Alliance response was late. It was always late. By the time the Iron Wake arrived, half the colony was already dead. The survivors were hiding in bunkers underground. The mission was simple: push back the Krath, rescue the survivors, hold the planet until reinforcements arrived. Simple. But nothing about war was simple. Tay ran behind Wu. His legs hurt. His lungs burned. He was not built for this. Valari were not warriors. They were scientists, engineers, thinkers. Running through a battlefield felt wrong. Every part of his body told him to hide, to run away, to survive. But he kept following Wu, because Wu did not stop. Wu did not hesitate. Wu moved forward like he was made for this. They reached a corner. Wu raised his fist. "Stop!" Tay stopped. He pressed his back against the wall and tried to control his breathing. Wu looked around the corner. His body was still. His rifle was ready. Then he moved. 3 shots. Fast. Clean. Tay heard bodies hit the ground. "Clear," Wu said. "Move." They moved. Around the corner, Tay saw 3 Krath soldiers lying dead. The Krath were tall creatures with gray skin and 4 eyes. They wore black armor covered in spikes. They carried energy weapons that could burn through metal. They were the nightmare of the galaxy. They had destroyed dozens of worlds, and Wu had killed 3 of them in 2 seconds. Tay looked at the human. He could not understand. How could one person be so fast? So deadly? So calm? "How do you do it?" Tay asked. His voice was shaking. Wu did not stop moving. "Do what?" "Kill them. So quickly, without thinking." Wu was quiet for a moment. Then he answered, "I am thinking. I am always thinking. But I think fast. That is the difference. In battle, you do not have time to wonder. You see. You decide. You act. If you wait, you die." They kept moving through the streets. More gunfire. More explosions. Tay saw Alliance soldiers fighting in small groups. He saw Dren soldiers using their 4 arms to carry wounded teammates while still shooting. He saw Gorath soldiers smashing through walls with their bare hands. But the humans were different. There were only 12 humans on this mission. 12 out of 200 soldiers. But somehow, they were everywhere. They were at the front of every fight. They were the first to charge, the last to retreat. Tay saw a human woman with short black hair jump over a barrier and tackle a Krath soldier. She was half the size of the Krath. It should have killed her. But she moved like lightning. She pulled out a knife and ended the fight in 3 seconds. He saw a human man carry 2 wounded soldiers on his back while shooting with 1 hand. He was bleeding from his head. He was limping. But he did not stop. He saw another human stand in the middle of the street, no cover, and fire at 5 Krath soldiers at once. He killed 4 before the 5th shot him in the leg. He fell to 1 knee, raised his rifle, and killed the last one before crawling to safety. Tay had heard the stories about humans. Now he understood. The stories were not exaggerated. If anything, they did not say enough. "This way," Wu said. He pointed to a building ahead. It was an old warehouse, half destroyed. "The survivors are in the bunker below. We need to secure the entrance." They ran to the warehouse. 3 other soldiers joined them. A Dren, named Vex, with a scar across his face. A young Valari woman, named Yuna, who looked as scared as Tay felt. And another human, a tall man named Jin with a heavy machine gun on his back. Jin smiled when he saw Wu. "Old man, still alive." Wu smiled back. "Always." They entered the warehouse. It was dark inside. Broken crates everywhere, holes in the ceiling. The smell of smoke and something worse. Something like burned meat. Tay tried not to look at the bodies. They found the entrance to the bunker. A heavy metal door built into the floor. But there was a problem. 20 Krath soldiers stood between them and the door. They had set up a defensive position. Barriers, heavy weapons. They were waiting. Too many. Vex said. His voice was low. We need more troops. No time, Wu said. The bunker's air supply is limited. If we wait, the survivors die. Then what do we do? Yuna asked. Her hands were shaking on her rifle. Wu looked at Jin. Something passed between them. A look, an understanding. Two humans who had fought together many times. We go through them, Wu said. Tay felt his stomach drop. That is impossible. There are 20 of them. 5 of us. Jin laughed. It was a strange sound in this place of death. You have not fought with Wu before, have you? Before Tay could answer, Wu was moving. He ran forward, not behind cover, not slowly. He ran straight at the enemy. Tay watched in shock. This was suicide. This was madness. Then Wu started shooting. He fired while running. Every shot hit a target. He moved like he knew where every bullet would go. Like he could see the future. Left. Right. Duck. Roll. Fire. 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 Every movement was perfect. Every second, another Krath soldier fell. Jin followed. His heavy machine gun roared. Bullets tore through the barriers. The Krath tried to shoot back, but they were confused. They were scared. 2 humans were tearing through their line like paper. Vex shouted something in his own language and charged. His 4 arms carried 2 rifles. He fired them all at once. Tay stood frozen. He could not move. He could not think. His body refused to obey. Yuna grabbed his arm. Come on, we have to help. She pulled him forward. Tay raised his rifle. His hands were shaking so much he could barely aim. He fired. Missed. Fired again. Missed again. Then he saw a Krath soldier aiming at Wu's back. The human did not see him. He was busy fighting 2 others. Tay did not think. He raised his rifle. He fired. The shot hit the Krath in the head. The soldier fell. Tay stared at his hands. He had just killed someone. He had just saved a life. Both at the same time. The fight was over in less than a minute. 20 Krath soldiers. Dead. All of them. Wu stood in the middle of the carnage. His armor was smoking. His rifle was hot. But he was alive. He was not even breathing hard. Jin walked over and slapped Tay on the shoulder. Good shot, kid. You saved the old man's life. Wu turned and looked at Tay. For a moment, his eyes were soft, grateful. Thank you, Wu said. Just 2 words. But they meant everything. They opened the bunker door. Below, hundreds of survivors waited. Men, women, children, all species. They looked up with fear in their eyes. Then they saw the Alliance soldiers, and the fear turned to hope. You came, a woman said. She was crying. We thought no one was coming. We are here, Wu said. You are safe now. Tay helped the survivors out of the bunker. He carried children. He supported the elderly. He did what he could. It was not much, but it was something. When the last survivor was out, Tay sat down on the ground. His legs could not hold him anymore. His whole body was shaking. Yuna sat down next to him. Are you okay? No, Tay said honestly. I am not okay. I killed someone today. I watched people die. I am not okay. I am not okay. Yuna nodded. Me neither. They sat together in silence. Around them, soldiers moved and shouted and prepared for the next fight. But for one moment, 2 young Villari sat still and tried to understand what they had become. Wu walked over. He handed Tay a small bottle of water. Drink, he said. Stay hydrated. The fight is not over. Tay took the water. How do you do it? How do you keep going? Wu was quiet for a long time. Then he spoke. I think about the people I save. I think about the survivors, the children, the families. Every battle I fight, someone lives who would have died. That is why I keep going. That is why I never stop. He looked at the survivors being led to safety. His eyes were tired, old, sad. Humans have a saying, Wu said. We do not fight because we want to. We fight because we have to. Because if we do not fight, who will? Tay thought about those words. He thought about his home, his family, his peaceful world. If the Krath won this war, they would all die. Everything he loved would burn. He stood up. His legs were still shaking, but he was standing. What now? Tay asked. Wu looked at him, and for the first time, Tay saw something like respect in the human's eyes. Now we take back this planet, Wu said. One street at a time. Night came to New Hana. But the darkness brought no peace. The sky burned orange from the fires. The sounds of battle echoed through the empty streets, and Tay found himself trapped behind a pile of rubble with 3 other soldiers, surrounded by enemies. The mission had gone wrong. Everything had gone wrong. After rescuing the survivors from the bunker, the Alliance forces had pushed forward. They had taken 3 districts of the colony. They had saved another 2,000 people. For a moment, it seemed like they were winning. Then the Krath reinforcements arrived. 3 warships dropped from orbit. They carried 10,000 fresh soldiers. The Krath counterattack hit like a hammer. Alliance positions crumbled. Soldiers scattered. Communications broke down. In less than an hour, the tide of battle changed completely. Now Tay was trapped, behind rubble, no way out, enemy soldiers everywhere. With him were Wu, Yuna, and a Gorath soldier named Bor. Bor was wounded. A Krath energy blast had burned through his rock-like skin and damaged his arm. He could still fight, but he was slow, weak. Every movement hurt him. How many? Yuna whispered. She was pressed against the rubble, her rifle ready. Wu was looking through a small gap in the debris. His face was calm. It was always calm. 47, he said. Maybe 50. They are setting up a perimeter. They know we are here. Tay felt his heart sink. 50 soldiers, 4 of them, 1 wounded, no backup, no escape. We need to call for help, Tay said. Someone must be able to reach us. Communications are down, Wu said. The Krath are jamming everything. We are on our own. Bor growled. It was a deep, rumbling sound. Then we fight. We die with honor. No one is dying today, Wu said. His voice was hard. Final. Not if I can help it. Yuna looked at him. How? How can we possibly survive this? Wu did not answer immediately. He was thinking, planning. His eyes moved around the battlefield, seeing things others could not see. The Krath are confident, he said finally. They think they have won. That makes them careless. They will not expect us to attack. Attack? Tay could not believe what he was hearing. Attack 50 soldiers? Not all 50. Just enough to break through their line. There is a maintenance tunnel entrance 200 meters east. If we can reach it, we can escape underground. That is 200 meters of open ground, Yuna said. We will be shot before we get halfway. Wu looked at her. Then, at Tay. Then at Bor. Not if I go first. I will draw their fire. Create confusion. You 3 run for the tunnel. Do not stop. Do not look back. Silence. Heavy silence. Tay understood what Wu was saying. The human was offering to sacrifice himself. To die so they could live. No, Tay said. The word came out before he could stop it. No, we are not leaving you. Wu smiled. It was a sad smile. A tired smile. You barely know me, Tay. We met today. Why would you risk your life for a stranger? Because you are not a stranger anymore, Tay said. Because you saved my life. Because you are my friend. Something flickered in Wu's eyes. Something soft. Something human. I have lost many friends in this war, Wu said quietly. I do not want to lose more. Then do not, Bor said. The Gorath's voice was rough with pain. I cannot run. I will slow you down. Let me stay. Let me hold them. Your arm is destroyed, Yuna said. You cannot fight, Bor laughed. It was a harsh sound. Like rocks grinding together. I am Gorath. I do not need arms to fight. He stood up. His massive body blocked the light. Even wounded. Even weak. He was terrifying. A mountain of stone and muscle. "I will give you time," Boar said. "Use it well." Before anyone could argue, he jumped over the rubble and charged at the enemy. The Krath were not ready. They had expected the Alliance soldiers to hide, to wait, to surrender. They did not expect a wounded Gorath to run at them screaming. Boar crashed into their line like a meteor. He grabbed one soldier and threw him into 3 others. He stomped on another. He headbutted a third. Energy blasts hit his body, burning through his stone skin. But he did not stop. He kept fighting. He kept killing. "Now," Wu said, "move." They ran. Tay ran faster than he had ever run in his life. His legs burned, his lungs screamed, but he did not stop. He could hear the battle behind him. He could hear Boar roaring. He could hear the Krath screaming. They reached the tunnel entrance. A small metal door in the ground. Yuna pulled it open. They climbed down into darkness. Tay stopped at the entrance. He looked back. He could see Boar in the distance, still fighting, still standing, surrounded by enemies, covered in wounds. Then Boar fell. Tay felt something break inside him. Someone he had just met. Someone who had given his life for strangers. Gone. "Tay!" Wu grabbed his arm. "We have to go. His sacrifice means nothing if we die here." They went into the tunnel. It was dark and narrow and smelled like rust and chemicals. They moved quickly. Wu leading the way with a small light on his rifle. "Where does this lead?" Yuna asked. "The power plant district," Wu said. "The Alliance still holds that area. We can regroup there." They walked in silence. Tay could not stop thinking about Boar. About his sacrifice. About the way he had charged into certain death without hesitation. "Why did he do it?" Tay asked. "He did not know us. He had no reason to die for us." Wu was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke. "That is what soldiers do. We fight for each other. We die for each other. Not because we want to. Because we believe in something larger than ourselves." "What do you believe in?" Wu thought about it. "I believe in tomorrow. I believe that somewhere, there is a child who will grow up because I fought today. I believe that somewhere, a family will stay together because I did not give up. I cannot see them. I will never meet them, but I know they exist. And that is enough." They kept walking. The tunnel seemed endless, dark and cold and lonely. Then they heard footsteps ahead. Many footsteps. Wu raised his rifle. Yuna and Tay did the same. Their hearts pounded. Had the Krath found another way in? Were they trapped again? Light appeared ahead. Then voices. "Alliance forces. Identify yourselves." Relief flooded through Tay. It was their own people. They were safe. They emerged into a larger chamber. 50 Alliance soldiers were gathered there, led by a tall Dren officer named Commander Hask. He looked tired. His uniform was torn and bloody, but his eyes were sharp. "Wu," Hask said, "I should have known you would survive. How many?" 3 of us made it. We lost a Gorath soldier named Boar. He held the line so we could escape." Hask nodded. His face showed respect. "His name will be remembered." They joined the other soldiers. Tay sat down against a wall, exhausted. Every part of him hurt. His body, his mind, his soul. Yuna sat next to him. "Are you okay?" "I do not know what okay means anymore," Tay said. "I thought war was about fighting. About winning. But it is not. Is it? It is about losing. Losing friends. Losing hope. Losing pieces of yourself." Yuna took his hand. Her silver scales were warm against his. "We are still alive," she said. "That means something." Across the chamber, Wu was talking to Commander Hask. Tay could not hear what they were saying, but he could see their faces. Serious, worried. The situation was bad, very bad. Then Wu walked over. He sat down across from Tay and Yuna. "We are holding this position until reinforcements arrive," he said. 6 hours. Maybe 8. The Krath know we are here. They will attack. "Can we hold?" Tay asked. Wu was honest. "I do not know, but we will try." That is all we can do. We will try. Tay looked around at the soldiers. Tired, wounded, scared, but still ready to fight. Still ready to die. Why do you do it? Tay asked Wu. You have fought 47 campaigns. You have survived horrors I cannot imagine. Why do you keep fighting? Why do you not just stop? Wu leaned back against the wall. His eyes were distant, remembering. When I was young, my planet was attacked. I was 10 years old. The Krath came and destroyed everything. My city, my school, my family. His voice was flat, empty. Like he was talking about someone else's life. I survived because a soldier saved me, a human soldier named Mira. She carried me through fire and death and chaos. She fought off enemy soldiers while carrying a crying child on her back. She was shot 3 times, but she did not stop. She got me to safety, and then she died. Wu looked at Tay. His eyes were wet, not with tears, with something deeper. I became a soldier because of Mira. I fight because she fought. I survive because she wanted me to survive. Every life I save for her. Every enemy I kill for her. She gave me everything. I can never repay that debt. But I can try. Tay understood then. He understood why humans were different. Why they fought so hard. Why they never gave up. It was not because they were stronger. It was not because they were braver. It was because they carried their dead with them. Every human soldier was fighting for everyone who came before. Every battle was personal. Every sacrifice had meaning. Tay stood up. He checked his rifle. He looked at Wu. I am ready, he said. Tell me where you need me. For the first time since they met, Wu smiled. A real smile. A proud smile. Welcome to the war, Tay. You are becoming one of us. The alarm sounded. The Krath were coming. And Tay stood with his brothers and sisters and waited for the storm. The Krath came like a wave of death. Hundreds of them poured through the tunnels, their weapons lighting up the darkness with red fire. The sound was terrible. Gunfire. Explosions. Screaming. The roar of battle filled every space until Tay could feel it in his bones. The Alliance soldiers had built barriers across the main tunnel entrance. Metal crates, broken machines, anything they could find. Behind these barriers, 50 soldiers waited with their weapons ready. It was not enough. Tay knew it was not enough. Hold the line, Commander Hask shouted. Tay fired his rifle. His hands were shaking, but he forced himself to aim. 1 shot. 2 shots. He saw a Krath soldier fall. He did not know if it was his bullet or someone else's. It did not matter. He kept shooting. Next to him, Yuna was firing with cold focus. Her fear was gone now, replaced by something harder. Something stronger. She had changed since the beginning of this battle. They both had. On the other side of the barrier, Wu was a storm of death. He moved along the line, firing at enemies, shouting commands, helping wounded soldiers. He was everywhere at once. When a section of the barrier started to break, Wu was there to push back the attack. When a soldier fell, Wu was there to drag them to safety. Tay had never seen anything like it. One human, keeping 50 soldiers alive through pure will. But even Wu could not stop what was coming. The Krath brought heavy weapons, a massive cannon that fired balls of energy that exploded on contact. The first shot hit the barrier and blew apart 3 soldiers. The second shot destroyed a chunk of the ceiling. Rocks and metal rained down. Soldiers screamed and ran. Fall back, Hask ordered. Fall back to the second position. They retreated deeper into the tunnels. Some soldiers were left behind. Some were wounded. Some were dead. Tay helped a Dren soldier with a burned leg, half carrying him through the chaos. They reached the second barrier. Weaker than the first. Fewer soldiers now. Maybe 35 still able to fight. They will break through again, Yuna said. Her voice was hollow. We cannot stop them. She was right. Tay knew she was right. The Krath had more soldiers, more weapons, more everything. This was not a battle. This was a slow execution. Wu appeared beside them. His armor was cracked and burned. Blood ran down from a cut on his forehead. But his eyes were still sharp, still alive. "The reinforcements will be here in 4 hours," he said. "We just need to hold for 4 hours." "We do not have 4 hours," Tay said. "We barely have 4 minutes." The Krath cannon fired again. The barrier shook. Soldiers fell. The line was breaking. Wu looked at the tunnel ahead, the path the Krath were coming through. His face was calm. Too calm. Tay had learned to fear that calm. "I can buy you time," Wu said. "No." Tay grabbed his arm. "We talked about this. No sacrifices. We survived together." Wu smiled. That sad, tired smile that Tay had come to know. "I am not going to die," he said. "I am going to fight. There is a difference." He pulled out something from his belt. A small device with a blinking red light. A detonator. "This tunnel has old mining explosives in the walls," Wu explained. "I can collapse it. Stop the Krath from advancing. Give you time to reach the surface." "You will be buried alive," Yuna said. "Maybe. But there is another way out. A small service shaft. I found it earlier. If I am fast enough, I can make it." "If you are fast enough," Tay repeated. "And if you are not?" Wu shrugged. "Then I die doing what I was born to do." He handed Tay his rifle. His personal weapon. The one he had cleaned when they first met. The one he had carried through 47 campaigns. "Hold this for me," Wu said. "I will want it back when I catch up with you." Before Tay could say anything, Wu pulled out a knife and a small pistol. Then he turned and ran toward the enemy. Tay watched in horror as Wu charged straight at hundreds of Krath soldiers. Alone. With a knife and a pistol. It was madness. It was impossible. It was human. Wu moved like nothing Tay had ever seen. He ran into the enemy ranks and disappeared into the chaos. Tay saw flashes of movement, heard screams. The Krath soldiers in front started falling. Not from gunfire. From something else. Something faster. Something deadlier. Wu was cutting through them like paper. The Krath were confused. Their formation broke. They stopped firing at the Alliance position because they were too busy fighting the demon in their midst. One human. Killing them from the inside. "Move!" Commander Hask shouted. "Everyone to the surface. Now!" The soldiers ran. Tay ran with them, carrying Wu's rifle. He did not want to leave. He wanted to stay and help. But he knew that would waste Wu's sacrifice. They climbed through narrow passages. Up ladders. Through broken doors. Tay could hear the battle below. The gunfire. The explosions. The screams. Then he heard a massive boom. The ground shook. Dust and rocks fell from the ceiling. The tunnel had collapsed. Tay stopped. He turned and looked back. There was nothing but darkness and silence. "Wu," he whispered. Someone grabbed his arm. Jin, the other human from before. He was wounded and tired, but still standing. "Keep moving," Jin said. "Wu would not want you to stop." They reached the surface. Dawn was breaking over New Hana. The sky was pink and gold, beautiful above the ruined colony. Fires still burned. Smoke still rose. But for a moment, there was peace. 32 soldiers had made it out. 32 out of 50. The rest were dead or trapped below. Tay sat down on a broken wall. He stared at Wu's rifle in his hands. The metal was warm from being held. The grip was worn from years of use. This weapon had killed hundreds of enemies. It had saved countless lives. Now its owner was gone. Yuna sat next to him. She did not say anything. There was nothing to say. An hour passed. Then 2. The survivors gathered in a defensive position on a hill overlooking the colony. They had food. They had water. They had weapons. But they had lost hope. Commander Hask was talking on a repaired communication device. "Reinforcements are 2 hours away," he announced. "We just need to hold. The Krath will find us before then." a soldier said. We are exposed here. Rinsi, then we fight, Jin said. His voice was hard, angry. We fight, until we cannot fight anymore. That is what Wu would do. Tay looked at the rifle in his hands. He thought about Wu, about his stories, about his sacrifice, about everything the human had taught him in just one day. Wu had said that every battle was personal, that every sacrifice had meaning, that soldiers fought for the people who could not fight for themselves. Tay stood up. He checked the rifle. Loaded. Ready. I am not dying on this hill, he said. And neither are you. Wu gave us time. We are not going to waste it. He looked at the other soldiers. Tired, scared, broken, but still alive. We are soldiers, Tay said. We fight for each other. We die for each other. That is what Wu taught me. That is what I choose to believe. Something changed in the soldier's eyes. The fear was still there. But there was something else now. Determination. Pride. Jin smiled. Not bad, kid. You sound like a human. Not as 9. I had a good teacher, Tay said. They prepared their defenses, built new barriers, set up firing positions, made ready for the fight of their lives. And then, just as the first Krath scouts appeared in the distance, they heard something. A sound from the collapsed tunnel entrance. Rocks moving, metal scraping. Tay turned. His heart stopped. A hand appeared from the rubble. Then an arm. Then a body. Wu climbed out of the ground like a ghost rising from a grave. His armor was destroyed. His face was covered in blood and dirt. One arm hung limp at his side. But he was breathing. He was alive. He looked at Tay, saw his rifle in Tay's hands, and smiled. I said I would want that back, Wu said. Tay ran to him. He helped the wounded human to his feet. He could not speak. Tears were running down his silver face. How? Yuna asked. How did you survive? Wu coughed. Blood came out. But his eyes were still bright. Humans are hard to kill, he said. Very hard. Jin rushed over with medical supplies. He started treating Wu's wounds. You crazy old man. You actually collapsed a tunnel on yourself. I collapsed it on the Krath, Wu corrected. I was just standing nearby. The soldiers gathered around. They looked at Wu with wonder, with respect, with something close to worship. This was why humans were legends. Not because they were strong, not because they were smart, because they refused to die. Because they kept fighting when fighting was impossible. Because they never, ever gave up. Wu looked at Tay. His face was serious. The fight is not over, he said. The Krath are coming. We need to hold this position. Tay handed him his rifle. Then let us hold it together. Wu took the weapon. He checked it, loaded it. Ready. Together, he agreed. The Krath appeared on the horizon, hundreds of them, coming for revenge, coming to finish what they started. And on that hill, 33 soldiers waited for them. Tired, wounded, outnumbered, but not defeated, never defeated. The battle for Nuhana was not over yet. The final battle for Nuhana began at dawn. The sky was red with fire and smoke. The ground shook with explosions. And on a small hill overlooking the ruined colony, 33 soldiers made their last stand. The Krath came in waves. First 100, then 200, then more than anyone could count. They had lost too many soldiers to the collapsed tunnel. They had lost their commander to Wu's rampage. Now they wanted revenge. They wanted blood. Tay fired his rifle until his arms ached. Next to him, Yuna did the same. They fought side by side, covering each other, moving as one. They had learned fast. They had to. In war, you learned, or you died. The barriers held for the first hour. Then, they started to break. Soldiers fell. Ammunition ran low. Hope faded, but they kept fighting, because that was all they could do. Wu was at the center of the line. His arm was broken. His body was covered in wounds. But he stood like a wall, firing his rifle with one hand, shouting commands. Refusing to fall, Jin fought next to him. The two humans moved together like they had done this 1,000 times. When one reloaded, the other covered. When one fell, the other picked him up. They were brothers. Not by blood, by something stronger. A Krath soldier broke through the line. He ran straight at Tay with a blade raised. Tay tried to shoot, but his rifle clicked empty. He had no ammunition left. He was going to die. Then Yuna threw herself at the Krath. She tackled him to the ground. They fought in the dirt. Struggling for the blade, Tay grabbed a rock and hit the Krath on the head. Once, twice, 3 times. The soldier stopped moving. Yuna stood up. She was breathing hard. Blood ran from a cut on her arm. "Thank you," she said. "Thank you," Tay replied. They found more ammunition from a fallen soldier and kept fighting. The second hour was worse. The Krath brought more heavy weapons. The barriers were destroyed. Soldiers fought in the open now, hiding behind rocks and bodies. Commander Hask took a shot to the chest and fell. A Dren soldier named Kex took command. He lasted 10 minutes before he fell too. By the end of the second hour, only 15 soldiers were still standing. Wu gathered them in a small circle. His face was pale from blood loss. His eyes were fading, but his voice was still strong. "The reinforcements are 30 minutes away," he said. "We just need to hold for 30 more minutes." "We cannot," a soldier said. He was a young Gorath, barely more than a child. "There are too many of them. We are going to die." Wu looked at him, then at all of them. His eyes were kind, tired, sad. "Maybe," Wu said. "Maybe we will die. But we will die fighting. We will die protecting each other. And that is not a bad way to go." He raised his rifle with his one good arm. "Humans have another saying." He continued. "It is better to die on your feet than to live on your knees. I do not know about you, but I am not kneeling." Jin stood next to him. "Neither am I." One by one, the soldiers stood. Tay stood. Yuna stood. The young Gorath stood. Everyone who could still hold a weapon stood. 15 soldiers, against hundreds, with 30 minutes until help arrived. The odds were impossible. But they did not care about odds anymore. They cared about each other. They cared about fighting. They cared about the people they were protecting. The Krath charged. What happened next, Tay would remember for the rest of his life. It was not a battle. It was a miracle. 15 soldiers held back hundreds of enemies for 30 minutes. They fought like demons. They fought like heroes. When their rifles ran empty, they used pistols. When their pistols ran empty, they used knives. When their knives broke, they used rocks and fists and teeth. Wu fought at the front, even wounded, even dying. He killed enemy after enemy with nothing but a broken rifle used as a club. Every time he fell, he got back up. Every time they shot him, he kept moving. Jin took 3 wounds and kept fighting. The young Gorath ripped a Krath soldier in half with his bare hands. A Valari medic picked up a gun and shot 10 enemies while dragging a wounded soldier to safety. And Tay fought like he had never fought before. He remembered everything Wu had taught him. Do not think, just act, see, decide, move. He became something he did not recognize. Something fierce and terrible and beautiful. When his rifle was empty, he grabbed a Krath blade and charged into the enemy. He cut down 3 soldiers before they could react. He took a shot to the leg and kept fighting. He took a shot to the shoulder and kept fighting. He was not Valari anymore. He was not a peaceful being from a peaceful world. He was a soldier. He was a warrior. He was human. The reinforcements arrived at the last possible moment. Alliance dropships screamed overhead, firing their weapons into the Krath ranks. Fresh soldiers poured down from the sky. The enemy fell back, then broke, then ran. Victory. But Tay did not feel like celebrating. He sat on the ground, surrounded by bodies and blood and broken weapons. His leg and shoulder screamed with pain. His eyes were blurry with tears. Around him, medics rushed to help the wounded. Soldiers cheered and hugged each other. The sky filled with Alliance ships, but Tay just sat there, looking at the destruction, trying to understand what had happened. A hand touched his shoulder. He looked up. It was Wu. The human was barely standing. Medics were trying to get him on a stretcher, but he had pushed them away. He wanted to walk. He needed to walk. Wu sat down next to Tay. For a long time, they did not speak. They just sat together, watching the sunrise. Finally, Tay broke the silence. How many of us survived? Wu was quiet for a moment. 7 out of 15. 7. They had started with 200 soldiers on the Iron Wake. Now only 7 remained from this hill, and hundreds more had died across the colony. Was it worth it? Tay asked. His voice was empty, hollow. All this death, all this suffering. Was it worth it? Wu reached into his pocket. He pulled out a small photograph, old and worn and creased from being carried for years. It showed a woman in soldier's armor, smiling at the camera. She looked young, happy, full of life. Mira, Wu said softly. The woman who saved me. He looked at the photograph for a long moment. Then, he looked at Tay. On Nuhana, we saved 12,000 people. 12,000 men, women, and children who will live because we fought. They will go home. They will rebuild. They will have families, and their children will have children. And somewhere, hundreds of years from now, someone will be alive because of what we did today. He put the photograph back in his pocket. That is why it is worth it. Not for glory, not for victory, for the future, for the people who come after us, for all the lives that will exist because we refuse to give up. Tay thought about this. He thought about his home, his family, his peaceful world. He thought about all the people on Nuhana who would see tomorrow. Because 33 soldiers held a hill. I understand now, Tay said slowly. I understand why humans fight the way they do. It is not about being stronger. It is about caring more. Caring so much that you will do anything to protect what matters. Wu smiled. A real smile. Warm and proud. You learn fast, Tay. Faster than I did. The medics finally forced Wu onto a stretcher. As they carried him away, he looked back at Tay. When I get out of the hospital, we should talk. The Alliance needs soldiers like you. Soldiers who understand what fighting really means. Tay nodded. He did not know what his future held. He did not know if he would keep fighting or go home or do something else entirely. But he knew one thing. He was not the same person who had landed on Nuhana. He had changed. He had grown. He had become something new. Yuna limped over and sat next to him. She took his hand. What happens now? She asked. Tay looked at the sky. The sun was rising. Golden light spilled over the battlefield, making even the destruction look beautiful. Now we rest, he said. We heal. We remember the ones we lost. He squeezed her hand. And then we keep fighting. Because that is what soldiers do. That is what Wu taught us. That is what it means to be human. Yuna leaned her head on his shoulder. We are not human, Tay smiled. His first smile in what felt like forever. Maybe not by species. But here, in our hearts, where it matters most, I think we are. I think anyone who is willing to die for strangers, to fight for a future they will never see, to stand when standing is impossible. I think that makes them human. It is not about what you are. It is about what you choose to be. They sat together and watched the sun rise over Nuhana. Behind them, the survivors gathered their wounded and buried their dead. Above them, Alliance ships patrolled the sky. The war was not over. It would not be over for a long time. But today, they had won. Today, they had survived. And tomorrow, when the Krath came again, they would be ready. Because that was the human way. The only way. Fall down 7 times, get up 8, and never, ever stop fighting for tomorrow.